In October, the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences decided to award the Nobel Prize in Physics 2024 to Geoffrey Hinton. In their announcement of the award, it is stated that Hinton invented a method that can autonomously find properties in data, and so perform tasks such as identifying specific elements in pictures. At first, the selection may seem innocuous and mundane, but the selection is very interesting. Not so much for the work that brought him the award, but because of some of the stances Hinton has taken on this type of work since then. Today we're diving into the fascinating life and work of one of the most influential figures in the world of artificial intelligence, Geoffrey Hinton. If you've ever used a voice assistant, browsed social media, or been recommended the perfect song or video, you have Hinton and his groundbreaking research to thank for it. But while Hinton's name is synonymous with AI progress in recent years, he's also become one of its most vocal critics. So, who is Geoffrey Hinton, and how did he go from AI's biggest pioneer to one of its most cautious voices? Let's go back to the beginning. Born in 1947 in London, Hinton wasn't just any curious student. He came from a family of intellectuals and thinkers. His great-great-grandfather was the famed logician George Boole, whose work in Boolean algebra laid the foundation for modern computing. In Boolean algebra, the values of the variables are the truth values true and false, usually denoted 1 and 0. Also, Boolean algebra uses logical operators such as conjunction, disjunction, and negation. Boolean algebra is therefore a formal way of describing logical operations in the same way that elementary algebra describes numerical operations. You could say logic and computation were in Hinton's DNA. By the time he was studying at Cambridge, Hinton became deeply interested in how the brain works, particularly in relation to learning and memory. But instead of pursuing psychology, he wanted to build machines that mimicked the way our brains process information. Sounds ambitious, right? Well, that's Geoffrey Hinton for you. In 1978, Hinton moved to the United States to further explore what was, at the time, a very niche field, neural networks. It was an idea inspired by biology, the thought that we could model machines after the human brain by creating networks of neurons that could process information. The idea was pretty revolutionary for the time, but neural networks were seen as unreliable and inefficient by many AI researchers. It was the 1980s, and traditional rule-based AI systems, where computers followed hard-coded instructions, dominated the field. But Hinton wasn't ready to give up on neural networks. He believed they had the potential to make machines learn, adapt, and recognize patterns on their own. The real breakthrough came in 1986 when Hinton and his colleagues published a paper on a learning algorithm called backpropagation. Now, backpropagation might sound like a fancy way of backing out of a parking spot, but in AI, it was the key to unlocking the true potential of neural networks. Here's how it works. Backpropagation allows a neural network to learn from its mistakes. Imagine you're training a machine to recognize a cat. If it gets it wrong, the system doesn't just throw in the towel. Instead, backpropagation sends an error signal back through the network, tweaking the neuron's weights along the way so the next guess is a little more accurate. It's like a virtual personal trainer for AI, making sure it gets better each time. This idea laid the groundwork for what we now call deep learning, the concept that machines can process information through multiple layers of neural networks, making them capable of recognizing patterns in complex data like images, speech, and language. Fast forward to the 2010s, and deep learning had exploded. Neural networks were no longer a fringe idea, they were powering some of the biggest advancements in AI. Geoffrey Hinton's contributions were finally recognized on a global scale. In 2012, Hinton, along with his students Alex Krzyzewski and Ilya Sutskever, developed a deep learning model that won the ImageNet competition, a major event in computer vision, by a huge margin. This victory put deep learning on the map and revolutionized fields like image recognition, natural language processing, and even healthcare. Soon after, Hinton joined Google, where he continued his research on machine learning. The very technologies he helped develop were now being used in everything from Google search to YouTube recommendations, self-driving cars, and even medical diagnoses. AI had arrived and it was here to stay. In recent years, Hinton has become a vocal critic of the very technology he helped create. Why? Well, Hinton believes that AI has advanced so rapidly that we may not fully understand the risks it poses. He's raised concerns about job displacement, privacy issues, and even the potential for AI to be weaponized. In 2023, Hinton made headlines when he left his position at Google, citing growing unease with the pace at which AI was evolving. He's even said that we might be approaching a tipping point where machines become smarter than humans, a scenario known as artificial general intelligence, or AGI. And if AGI arrives, it could be difficult, if not impossible, for us to control. Hinton's concern isn't just that AI will take our jobs, although that's definitely a big part of it. He's worried that AI could be used to spread misinformation, manipulate political outcomes, and disrupt societies in ways we can't yet predict. Think deepfakes, autonomous weapons, or AI systems making decisions that affect millions of people without any human oversight. Yikes, right? While some of these warnings might sound like the plot of a sci-fi movie, Hinton's critiques are grounded in his decades of expertise. He's not saying we should abandon AI entirely. Instead, he's calling for a more cautious, responsible approach to how we develop and deploy these technologies. So, where does that leave us? On the one hand, Geoffrey Hinton's contributions have led to incredible advancements in technology that have made our lives easier, more connected, and even more fun. Shout out to personalized YouTube recommendations. But on the other hand, like Uncle Ben, his recent warnings remind us that with great power comes great responsibility. As AI continues to evolve, it's crucial to ask important questions. How do we ensure AI benefits everyone? How do we prevent it from being used for harmful purposes? And most importantly, how do we make sure we don't create something we can't control? Geoffrey Hinton's journey from a young researcher tinkering with neural networks to one of AI's biggest cautionary voices is a testament to how much the field has grown and how much more there is to learn. So the next time your phone predicts what you're going to text before you even think it, or your virtual assistant perfectly understands your question, remember the name Geoffrey Hinton. He may have helped give rise to the age of AI, but he's also one of the voices reminding us to think carefully about where this technology takes us. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to ask my AI assistant whether it's worried about its future or if I should be worried about ours. Thanks for watching, and stick around and watch another video.